YouTube kind of teacher.
Yeah.
Why don't you do that?
Somebody who helped me a lot with understanding it is Grant Sanderson from the channel 3 Blue 1 Brown. And I'm just going to say that and Taraj, you can take it over.
Okay.
Hello, welcome to part 3 in the 6-part Halloween FX series. Part 3 is about more efficiency. And this one is about a guy named Grant Sanderson and also a guy named Kilian, who you've repeatedly seen in this picture here. Those of you who know that I do the haunted house know that Kilian, my kid, has always been the main driver of that over the years. He's loved Halloween and he really loves math. And if you look here at the effects that I'm hoping that we can instill when we talk about instilling more efficiency in our own selves, one of the things that's helpful, I think, is just to understand efficiency in terms of math. It's not saying go and study math now. It's saying that if you want to be more efficient, data and numbers are your friends. And Kilian, my kid, he got really into math, and he did that by watching the YouTube channel of Grant Sanderson, 3B, 1B. And I described him as an ambient math researcher. That's the term that he uses. It's his own coin term. I also said he's a purveyor of theories and knowledge like game theory, chaos theory, etc. He got Kilian to look at his brain in the way that I drew it there, which is like a grid. Everything is a grid to Kilian and to a lot of mathematicians that are interested in linear algebra. And I wrote up at the top, shear the grid, over here. And that's a tactic or a technique in linear algebra for looking at things in different ways. And actually, we're going to, in the next video, number 4, we're talking about enhanced cognition, different ways to look at things. Randomly started watching this channel from Grant Sanderson. One day, he just started to bust out conversations about things that 10-year-olds don't talk about, mathematical concepts that I didn't understand or ever have heard of. And then he started to show me things that he was looking at, and I was super excited for him. Grant Sanderson believes that you should take a slow and steady approach, as opposed to the hare here who's falling asleep on this race, the slow and steady mathematics researcher who practices ambient math research, which is sort of having fun and exploring things in a natural and organic way. And then you make a breakthrough as opposed to targeting, I want to discover this in mathematics, or I want to make this point, and then working backward from that. The idea is to live and explore that world of mathematics and or neuroscience or whatever it is that you're interested in. And so I'm teaching here in this video about how to be more efficient. Obviously, it's stock advice, but do something that you're highly interested in, and you'll be more efficient. If you're going to choose an apprenticeship and you're interested in computer engineering, probably don't pick welding. But if you love the idea of building a thing and manufacturing a thing, a bridge or a ship, then don't build software. It's just not the same as building a physical thing. This was years ago that he got into math like that, and I actually waited years until this video to really bring it forward in a broader way, because he was young and he put a lot of pressure on himself to actually do. It was almost like he was trying to be a hare. In fact, one of the craziest experiences I had, he was really learning a lot of math, and he said he was in the back of the car, 10, and he said, he was telling me about his ideas for AI and things like that, and then he said, I had an important idea. And I said, what, buddy? And he goes, if you're not creating something, you're literally wasting away, or some kind of dire, I think he did say wasting away. He didn't say the word literally, because that's not how he talks. He said, you're wasting away your life. And I was alarmed slightly by that, because even as excited as I was for him to do all this ambient research in math, I understood that he needed to take it slow. And so I told Kilian at the time, instead of trying to have him go off and do high-level math in some other forums with going outside of his normal life, I said, don't talk like that anymore, buddy. You don't ever have to worry about not creating enough or moving fast enough. Just be a kid and have fun. And then I discovered what this guy Sanderson called it, ambient research. And so I think I had already heard that term just before when he and I were talking at that point. And I said, just do what that guy on the YouTube channel says, ambient research. You don't have to worry about, we're not trying to get you to go to college, just chill and have fun and be a kid. And for years now, this is 2021, for years now that's been the case. He's just been a kid, and that's perfect. But he's now old enough, in like 14, and so it's time, I think, that he's able to, and being in high school, if he wants to talk about math, he can. He has not really chosen to. Of course, when you're a kid and you realize that at the Pink House on Halloween, they give out Skittles, you want to remember that, because here's what's interesting about this Halloween stuff. It teaches how they interact in transactional stuff. We'll call it the candy trade, as I did in the original overview video. Kilian realized that math is fun. There's variables. You can trade in harmony with your trading peers. The efficiency of the candy getting route becomes important. Kilian was absolutely obsessed with mazes. I thought he was going to want to dress as Magellan. That's why I drew a picture of Magellan there. I mean, he was so interested in like optimizations of routes and things like that. Then the kid realizes, I can plan ahead. I can plan a route ahead. That's cool. If I can plan ahead, what does that mean? That means that I can plan for good things. Like I can plan to make sure I find the pink house with the Skittles. And if I can plan ahead for good things, I could plan ahead to avoid bad things. This thing here is a picture of the Key Bridge in Baltimore. It was knocked down by a ship that plowed into it. That didn't have to happen. I mean, it was pretty obvious that that would happen if a ship plowed into it. And Kilian is now in a position of understanding, hey, bad stuff has happened, because he's old enough, understands what Pearl Harbor is. I'm telling you, on the 12th birthday, his request for his birthday place was to go to the National Cryptological Museum, because he likes numbers. We went there at the Fort Meade, and we got this book. And that book right there is all of the signal communications and all the communications that took place in the lead up to Pearl Harbor. It was discernible from patterns and indicators. Obviously, looking back is not helpful. Looking forward is helpful. And Kilian is thinking, how can I use math to keep that from happening again? And he and I, we have this thing we call Pearl Harbor 2.no. So with an underscore, it's like as if it was a virus. So that's saying, no. We don't need to let bridges get knocked down. We can get ahead of problems by thinking about what they might be and moving. I can make a difference with math. I think I just explained it, but I'll tell you two examples where I'll roll in footage of Kilian's experiences here. On AI, his views on AI and how to have harmonious relations. He talks about a lot of stuff. This document here is his symbols for emotional side of AI, abstractions in AI. But he also is interested in if there was an alien, that math is the language that with which we would communicate with anybody else. The recipe that Grant Sanderson puts together for people to use his ways and would be that ambient research. Game theory is it's a practical, applicable way of engaging in an interaction, you might say, where there's something at stake, and it would even be a cooperative interaction if that's what the theory posits, that usually is better. Abstractions like joy and sadness, again, I'll play Kilian's video. Cross-disciplinary, really got deeply obsessed with classical music and just started to identify all of it. He had this dictionary where he would just underline words and write them in the front page and just go and read words and write down the words that he liked. And then a poem that he wrote about, I know what it's about. It's about the possibility of like external life or AI proposing to humans that we submit to them. It's a poem. He wrote it. It's appropriate for Halloween. I'll read it at the end or include it in this video, but that's getting into the video because that's the scary part of this video. We need clear language so we can have clear interpersonal communications. Words mean things just like in music, notes mean things. Ultradian rhythms, about 90 minutes when you're doing a studying cycle or an intense learning bout. If you do more than that, you get diminishing returns. I'll get into a lot more detail in activities you can undertake, but in this short video, we'll just say, obviously, you want to have good nutrition. This is a endocrine related or hormonal comment here. We'll eventually talk about Dr. Robert Sapolsky, and he has this beautiful way of explaining how things work backwards in time from the split second you made a decision or something happened to a second before, what neurotransmitters were firing and getting ready to make you make that decision, to an hour before, what did you have for lunch, to what did you have in the last year? Have you had like any major health considerations, to how was your fetal experience when you were in the womb, to evolutionary all the way back. So that we'll get into in the future, but that's what this refers to. There's a lot of things you can do, and he explains them, and I'll relate his explanations to you. Mentors, Kilian had some great people that, even though I kept him away from broader math, he had pretty much 4 top mentors I'll say thank you to, which is Drs. Ian McCall and Dr. Tony Johnson from Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab, Dr. Jenna Emery from Accenture, and then there's a guy from Gartner who's named Tyler, who also was just really generous and gave Kilian a lot of good encouragement. What are the basic inputs of the candy trade? Math is fun, so that's the first thing that Grant Sanderson, would want to convey. It's rules-based, like 2 is 2, and 2 and 2 is 4. Strategy-based, value-based. Each, in let's say chess, each piece has a value, and in candy trading, each piece has a value, but those values might be different, so you can all, for one, get together, and everybody is invited. There is a hierarchical order of who has the most candy and the best candy and everything like that. But then you're in a negotiation. And this acronym stands for Best Alternative to a Negotiated Agreement. If you have to walk away, what is it you're walking away to? What's the value of that versus the thing that they're trying to get you to accept? And if this is better, then you walk. And that's a BATNA. Pattern recognition. Obviously, the entire name of the channel is 3B1, 3 blue, 1 brown, 3B, 1B. So it's his, I think, I don't remember exactly the story of why he called it that. I think it has to do with his eyes, I believe, chromosomes. But at any rate, it's his, I think, realization and epiphany moment. And Kilian's epiphany moments were when he started watching the channel, and then he created what he calls Kilian theory. I'll roll it in. Kilian's identity. It's a reference to something called Euler's identity, which is a term in mathematics that I was not personally familiar with prior to that. Cal Newport, who has a lot of really good ideas on efficiency, just not time to cover it in this video, but I will in another time. He's a doctor out of Georgetown, computer scientist, actually. So then there's spaced and intermittent learning, which is kind of like an example of strategies. That means to space out the sessions of learning. Obviously, don't cram. It's kind of like saying don't cram. Do small bits over extended periods of time. And then your workspace. Having it clean and clear is going to enhance your efficiency, according to Dr. Andrew Huberman and their studies and indicators of that. Well, I appreciate you watching. I hope that you enjoy the videos that I will have spliced in or shown here at the end of Kilian. Thank you very much. Have a very happy Halloween. It is tonight. There's 3 more videos in this series still to be released. And one of them is going to be, the culmination one is going to be actually filmed tonight as there is trick-or-treating, so that I can get real, so I can show you the real impact of neuroscience on adults and kids. And I hope that that's a fun video. It's the one that's going to be about Marty Rogers, and the other 2 are about Daniel Tammet, number 4, which is about enhanced cognition. And then number 5 is about, it's focusing on the Macy meetings and a guy named Lex Friedman and this historical imperative we have to like avoid World War III. And this conference called the Macy Conferences back in the 40s that still exists and is a chance to do just that, to avoid bad things happening. Thank you very much. Have a happy Halloween.
Somebody who helped me a lot with like understanding it is Grant Sanderson from the channel 3 Blue 1 Brown. It's really detailed to explain, but I'm just going to say that it follows a certain formula, of course. You can plug in numbers, and I found the shape by itself drawing a line between every number in a system of equations using Kramer's rule. That's just the bare bones basic version of Kilian theory. And the second thing is Kilian's identity. I was just inspired by like Euler's identity, so I wanted to do something like that. It's really simple. It's just, hold on. It's 3e to the power of 3 times 0.001 to the I. This right here is the kilocad. It is at the basis of all of Kilian theory. These 4 equations to make the kilocad. I had 12 equations, then I simplified it to 8, then to like 4. The answer to the formula is 0, like in a lot of formulas. And that about wraps up Kilian theory, the hottest new, well, like hottest as in like, yeah, the best new linear theory. And I'm Professor Kilian. Goodbye.